without any serving it up, without any explanation, what is the meaning of life?
I think it's either the wrong question or that question is answered by paying sufficient attention to any present moment such that there's no basis upon which to pose that question. It's not answered in the usual way. It's not a matter of having more information. It's having more engagement with reality as it is in the present moment, or consciousness as it is in the present moment. You don't ask that question when you're most captivated by the most important thing you ever pay attention to. That question only gets asked when you're abstracted away from that experience, that peak experience, and you're left wondering, why are so many of my other experiences mediocre? Right? Like, why am I repeating the same pleasures every day? Why is my Netflix queue just like, when's this going to run out? Like, I've seen so many shows like this. Am I really going to watch another one? Like, all of that, that's a moment where you're not actually having the beatific vision, right? You're not sunk into the present moment, and you're not truly in love. Like, you're in a relationship with somebody who you know, conceptually you love, right? This is the person you're living your life with, but you don't actually feel good together, right? Like, so like it's in those moments of where attention hasn't found a good enough reason to truly sink into the present, so as to obviate any concern like that, right? And that's why meditation is this kind of superpower, because until you learn to meditate, you think that the outside world or the circumstances of your life always have to get arranged so that the present moment can become good enough to demand your attention in a way that seems fulfilling, that makes you happy. And so if it's jujitsu, you think, okay, I got to get back on the mat. It's been months since I've trained. It's been over a year since I've trained. It's COVID. When am I going to be able to train again? That's the only place I feel great, right? Or, I've got a ton of work to do. I'm not going to be able to feel good until I get all this work done, right? So I've got some deadline that's coming. You always think that your life has to change, the world has to change, so that you can finally have a good enough excuse to truly to just be here, and here is enough. That where the present moment becomes totally captivating. Meditation is meditation is another name for the discovery that you can actually just train yourself to do that on demand. So that, like, just looking at a cup can be good enough in precisely that way, and any sense that it might not be is recognized to be a thought that is mysteriously unravels the moment you notice it, and you fall, and the moment expands and becomes more diaphanous, and then there's no evidence that this isn't the best moment of your life, right? Like this, it doesn't have to be pulling all the reins and levers of pleasure. It's not like, this tastes like chocolate. This is the most chocolatey moment of my life. No, it's just the sense data don't have to change, but the sense that there is some kind of basis for doubt about the rightness of being in the world in this moment, that can evaporate when you pay attention. And that is the meaning. So the kind of the meta answer to that question, the meaning of life for me is to live in that mode more and more, and to, whenever I notice I'm not in that mode, to recognize it and return, and to not be to cease more and more to take the reasons why not at face value, because we all have reasons why we can't be fulfilled in this moment. It's like this, I've got all these outstanding things that I'm worried about, right? It's like there's that thing that's happening later today that I'm anxious about. Whatever it is, we're constantly deferring our sense of this is it. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is the show. We keep deferring it, and we just have these moments on the calendar where we think, okay, this is where it's all going to land. It's that vacation I planned with my 5 best friends. We do this once every 3 years, and now we're going, and here we are on the beach together. Unless you have a mind that can really pay attention, really cut through the chatter, really sink into the present moment, you can't even enjoy those moments the way they should be enjoyed, the way you dreamed you would enjoy them when they arrive. So meditation in this sense. It's the great equalizer. It's like you don't have to live with the illusion anymore that you need a good enough reason, and that things are going to get better when you do have those good reasons. It's like there's just a mirage-like quality to every future attainment and every future breakthrough and every future peak experience, that eventually you get the lesson that you never quite arrive. Right? Like you don't arrive until you cease to step over the present moment in search of the next thing. I mean, we're stepping over the thing that we think we're seeking in the act of seeking it. And so it is kind of a paradox. I mean, there's this paradox which, I mean, it sounds trite, but it's like you can't actually become happy. You can only be happy. And it's the illusion that it's the illusion that your future being happy can be predicated on this act of becoming in any domain. And becoming includes this sort of, further scientific understanding on the questions that interest you, or, getting in better shape, or whatever the thing is, whatever the contingency of your dissatisfaction seems to be in any present moment. Real attention solves the koan, in a way that becomes a very different place from which to then make any further change. It's not that you just have to dissolve into a puddle of goo. I mean, you can still get in shape, and you can still do all the things that, the superficial things that are obviously good to do, but the sense that your well-being is over there is really does diminish, and eventually it just becomes a kind of non sequitur.